To this short podcast. My name is Joshua Roach, and today I'll be exploring how social media is influencing tribalism within sports, particularly in football and online fan culture. And I'm joined by Katie Stafford from BBC Sport to give an industry perspective on this topic. I mean, based on your experience of working with the BBC, I know social media obviously has a big influence, but for you personally, how does social media influence the way fans engages with the sport, like in all platforms?
So we have a social team, and
Yeah,
there are people that spend their whole days blocking and deleting comments that could be
yeah,
flagged as, either discrimination, like racially discriminative, homophobic, or just rude or, unnecessary and political. I think that sport is a matter of opinion.
yeah,
That's the beauty of football and of sport, and it's great to have that fandom almost online, because for people that can't always make it to games, it gives them a sense of belonging because they can mix with people that have the same sort of ideologies and values to you. But at the same time, it can also open you up to a sort of world that you don't really want to see. As a female football journalist, I've seen a lot of homophobic and
yeah.
misogynistic comments come my way. I don't have my direct messages on Twitter for that reason, but I'm a pretty, strong, thick-skinned person. But not everybody is, and sometimes you only have to read one thing. It might not necessarily be about yourself, and that can definitely play a part in like either mental health and things like that. So it is worrying. I think that social isn't going to go anywhere, is only probably going to take over our lives more. Journalists have never been liked though. It's
Yeah,
not
I
a
know.
very liked profession. You're probably more liked in sport just because
I mean,
obviously it's usually light-hearted and a form
yeah.
of entertainment. But I think that the a whole part of being a journalist is, I always say to myself, I'm there to report on the truth. Not everybody might like the truth, but it's my job to do that.
Do you think social media increases the sport tribalism?
Yeah, I think it does. I think so. Football tribalism will happen no matter whether there's social media or not. Back in the 80s and 90s, football hooliganism was
Yeah, yeah.
rife. Um, has that changed now because of social media? I think that it's influenced in the sense that kids see it and they think, oh, I want to do that. I'll put my clubber on and I can go and like, fight for my club, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Jeered on by people around they maybe met on the internet. But it's a very different level. You don't see the levels of violence that you saw in the 80s and 90s. I would say that the violence that was in person back then has pretty much been eradicated, but it's almost being reflected online instead. So they're not physically fighting, but they're fighting with their tongues instead, and
Yeah.
you're having that sense of it being a verbal debate rather than being a physical one. And some of the stuff that's brought up is horrendous and is not nice to see. But yeah, I think it's just evolved over time from being in person to being online.
That's all the questions I have for, and thank you for your insights on how social media has amplified both the passion and division within sports, and making fan rivalries more visible and more times, I guess, a little bit more extreme. And it shows how I would say how online platforms are now like more central to modern football culture. And yeah, thank you for listening.
Thank you.